Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a wee preview of tonight's Scottish Premiership game between Celtic and Aberdeen. Game will be a home game for Celtic at Celtic Park. Kickoff is 8 p.m. and the game will be live on Sky Sports. And it does give Celtic a chance to stretch their lead to 16 points, and after tonight's game, Celtic will only have 10 games left in the league season. Currently, Celtic need 21 more points in those last 11 games to guarantee the title, although if Celtic were to win 5 games and draw the 2 games still to go against Rangers, that also would give Celtic the title, as obviously Rangers can't win a game and get 3 points if the game ends up as a draw. Clearly, also, if Celtic were to beat Rangers, that changes the equation even more in Celtic's favour. In today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the predicted lineup, predicted score, some stats for Celtic against Aberdeen fixtures throughout history, and we're also going to have a wee brief feature regarding Marco Tilio, who is back in action yet again after another injury break while he's on loan with Melbourne City in the Australian Football League. Celtic go into the game against Aberdeen tonight after Brendan Rodgers and Alistair Johnston's press conference on Monday afternoon. Rodgers was saying Celtic in essence have a full squad to pick from, apart from the current 2 injury absentees, Paolo Bernardo and James Forrest. Rodgers was suggesting probably another 3 or 4 weeks before Paolo Bernardo gets back into training. James Forrest is back into full training and stepping up his fitness, and Rodgers didn't specify a time for Forrest getting back into the first team squad, but I would guess it's probably going to be 10 to 14 days. Forrest likely then to be on the substitutes bench, but that obviously depends on how well he does over the next week or so with stepping up his training. On the basis of Brendan Rodgers' press conference on Monday afternoon, my predicted lineup is going to be Kasper Schmeichel in goals, Alistair Johnston at right back, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty as the 2 centre-backs, with Jeffrey Sloop coming back in at left back. I think Rodgers will start with his strongest midfield, and so Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels and Rio Hatate. And for the front 3, Nicholas Kuhn on the right, Jota on the left, and Dyson Maida through the middle. I think the performances of Greg Taylor, Luke McCowan, and Adam Ida, particularly Taylor and Ida, were so disappointing that Celtic do need to make 3 changes and get back to what is probably Celtic's strongest 11 on current form and fitness. Just looking at some stats for tonight's game against Aberdeen, looking at the all-time record in all competitions between Celtic and Aberdeen. Celtic have played Aberdeen in all overall throughout the years in all competitions 90 times. Celtic have 71 wins, 10 draws and just 9 defeats over those 90 games all time. At Celtic Park, Celtic have an even more amazing record against Aberdeen, 38 wins, 2 draws and just 5 defeats. And in the Scottish Premiership, 63 wins, 8 draws and 7 defeats. Celtic are currently 28 games unbeaten against Aberdeen, and throughout the 24-25 season at Celtic Park, Celtic have 12 wins and just 1 draw. That draw was the 2-2 draw against Aberdeen in October, and are currently on an away record of 4 defeats and 1 win in the last 5 games. Celtic have 5 wins out of 5 record in in their last 5 home matches at Celtic Park. As I was saying, with the way that Rangers are currently 13 points behind, with 11 games to go, as things stand, Celtic need um, a total of 21 points in those last 11 games, one way or another. But as I said earlier, if Celtic were to draw both games against Rangers, and that would drop the requirement to 5 wins and 2 draws in the last 11 games. And so a win on Tuesday evening would be a good first step towards securing the title and getting step 2 out of the 3 needed for yet another treble, which would be the 9th overall for Celtic. Both Brendan Rodgers and Alistair Johnston gave press conferences on Monday afternoon. There weren't any great amount of news in either of the two press conferences. Brendan Rodgers confirmed that Celtic have been exploring with the Willie Collum and the refereeing group with regards to the controversial VAR decision on Saturday lunchtime against Hibs. And in his press conference, Alistair Johnston said that he thinks he got the ball back into play, that he's quite used to delivering crosses like that from the byline, and he is very confident that he got the ball back into play. And both Rodgers and Alistair Johnston were suggesting that for accuracy of VAR decisions regarding these sorts of line decisions, such as whether the ball was in or out of play or whether the ball has crossed the goal line into the goal, that it would be beneficial if Scottish football invested in goal line technology so that these sorts of decisions can be 100% accurate. But they both did recognise that might require quite a lot of financial outlay. And Brendan Rodgers and Alistair Johnston kind of suggested that's the matter closed for now, and they're looking ahead for Willie Collum and the SPFL, etc., responding to their inquiries and clarification. And I'm sure it will be centre of the next Willie Collum YouTube channel monthly show, and also will be part of the outcome of the key match incident group this Friday. Just thought it would also be quite interesting just to pop in a wee update on Marco Tilio, currently on loan with Melbourne City in the Australian Football League. As you're all aware, Marco Tilio signed for Celtic for £2 million in the summer of 2023. Unfortunately, just after he signed for Celtic, he was injured on Australian international duty, and as a result was injured, missing the whole of the pre-season, and did not really get back into training until around about September, October. And as a result, he only played a couple of games from the subs bench for Celtic prior to Christmas of 2023. And then it was decided to send him off on loan for the rest of the 23-24 season back to Melbourne in the Australian Football League, where he did actually get off to a very good start, but then, as has been the way with Marco Tilio recently, he got himself injured and missed most of the remainder of the 23-24 season. And as a result of that, it was then decided to send him off again to Melbourne City, this time on a season-long loan to cover the whole of the 24-25 Australian League season. And he should be back at Celtic for the start of July 2025. Just a wee update on Marco Tilio so far with Melbourne. He has played 7 games for Melbourne so far, 5 starts and twice coming off the subs bench. He's had 2 man of the match performances over that time and has also scored 2 goals but no assists so far. He played 2 and a bit games for Melbourne and then got himself injured, missing the next 12 games. Things are looking a wee bit brighter for Marco Tilio. Currently, he's now played 5 games in a row for Melbourne City, and in his most recent game, he scored a goal and again was man of the match, and played practically this time the whole 90 minutes, um, which is very encouraging as to him getting back towards his full form. Just going to pop in a little video clip of that goal he scored for Melbourne City in their most recent AFL game, and then we'll finish off with one or two further thoughts regarding Marco Tilio and Celtic's wide players for the 25-26 season, and then we'll bring the video to an end with my prediction for Celtic's game against Aberdeen later today on Tuesday. I think very much we haven't seen the best of Marco Tilio. As I said, when he first signed for us, he was injured shortly after playing for Australia. He never really got into the swing of things, played a couple of brief substitute appearances, and Brendan Rodgers was keen for him to get regular match practice and match fitness. That has been a bit difficult for him to get in his 2 loan spells with Melbourne, although it does look, as I said, that things are starting to brighten up for him with 5 games in a row for Melbourne. And there was a very interesting comparison of Jota's figures playing for Celtic and Marco Tilio's figures playing for Melbourne. They've played a similar number of games, similar number of minutes, and as you can see from this wee table, Jota's figures are a wee bit better than Marco Tilio's, but not by a great deal in all the categories. And I think if Marco Tilio did get back to his full fitness, I think we would actually be blessed with a player with tons and tons of pace. Probably the only player in the Celtic squad who has the pace to challenge Dyson Maida. He is a very talented left-footed player. He would be an ideal replacement for Nicholas Kuhn if Nicholas Kuhn did move on in the summer, and also would be an ideal backup for Nicholas Kuhn playing wide on the right. And a wee bit like Paddy Roberts, who was with Celtic on loan in Brendan Rodgers' first spell, a player very good with his left foot cutting in, and Tilio also a very good finisher, as we can see from that wee highlight clip from his most recent game. And there also are a couple of videos earlier on the channel which have a much fuller profile picture and scouting picture and videos extracts for Tilio, and so I do suggest you have a look at those. So if Tilio does get back to Celtic, gets back full fitness, gets through the full pre-season, I could certainly see him slotting in as Celtic's number 4 wide player alongside Kuhn, Maida and Jota. I think he would step ahead of Yang, and I think he is a better player all round than Yang. But the problem with Tilio is whether he's going to adapt to Scottish conditions and whether he's going to settle down, and also his rather poor injury record just recently. But I think if all those things did work out, we would actually have a very talented player. And if all went well, a deputy for Nicholas Kuhn or Dyson Maida if they do move on in the summer. Finally, a prediction for tonight's game between Celtic and Aberdeen. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Celtic. Aberdeen have had a rather terrible run of form, which has slightly improved just recently, but I think Celtic will be back at their best again this evening in the game live on Sky Sports at 8 o'clock. And I'm going to go for a 3-0 comfortable win for Celtic, especially if we do start with our strongest 11 and get on top nice and early. That finishes things off for today. If you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, please do click that subscribe button. Get the numbers pushing past 1200, that would be brilliant. If you like the video, please do click that like button and do feel free to pop your own thoughts regarding the lineup, the score, and other Celtic issues into the comment section for a nice wee debate among Celtic fans prior to the 8 o'clock kickoff later on today. We'll be doing a post-match review video early on Wednesday. And so until the next video, goodbye. Good luck, Celtic, in your game against Aberdeen tonight. And hail, hail.